Greetings to the crypto community. We are pseudo-anonymous. We are here to smash that like button. We believe this content needs to reach more people like you. We are watching. We are listening. Most importantly, we are liking and subscribing. We are pseudo-anonymous. Expect us.
Happy Halloween, everyone. Welcome to the daytime edition of Crypto Charts with Road Dogg. And my name is Lane, and I will be your ringmaster for this circus show that we're in right now. Let's move on and let's just go ahead and get to the show. Wrong button.
Greetings
again.
To the crypto community.
That was a big mistake.
I just want to say thank you. Thank you very much.
Guys, whether you're watching this live or watching this later, I appreciate you so much for tuning in. If you can, hit that like button. It does help this channel reach a bigger audience. It helps get this information out to some people who need it. And hopefully this information, the whole purpose of this channel is to help others along this trip, this journey that we're on in crypto to get that life-changing wealth. Because that's what this is all about. So been down this road before. This is basically what I do full time now, because why not? Spread the message, spread the news, do it for free. Pay it forward, baby, is what I believe in. And so I'm just here to go over the charts, tell you how I get to my conclusions. Hopefully you can add some of these tools to your toolbox and you can do this without me. If nothing else, you just hang out with me and see what I say, see if it jives with what you say, and then you can make an informed decision. If you notice on my screen, there is a Tangem wallet website. Great wallet to have. If you have an NFC-enabled phone, you are eligible to get one of these wallets. Excellent, especially storage for Caspa. If you're interested in Tangem or the new 2.0 wallet, which gives you the optional seed phrase, which I don't recommend. I really don't. You need to kind of get away from seed phrases. Use the code DAWG to get 10% off. Guys, this is what's going on today in our crypto markets. So a little bit of a mix up here, right? We had altcoins pumping, especially AI, gaming coins pumping. Did you guys take some profit? I mean, even 10%, even taking 10% off is something, right? It's something. Because we're still in the tidal waves going up and down. And you can kind of see the fluctuation in some of these that ran up and getting a little bit of a pullback. Let's check those out. We will go first. We're going to cover Bitcoin just briefly. We'll keep it brief. Then we'll jump into altcoins. You guys got your coin request? Throw them in the chat. See, someone's already asked for ORAI, ORAI chain, which I am a big fan of, and it's doing very well. Tau, I see, is doing nicely today. Got above the $79 mark, up to 83. Rune was on a little bit of a run. We'll check these out a little bit closer. Got up to around $3. My rune bags are very happy. Needless to say. A little adjustment on this microphone so I can maneuver around a little bit. And let's get over here and take a look at Bitcoin. I'm on the 15-minute chart. Let's zoom out because you don't want to start out on the small time frames. They will just mislead you. This is the front of this microphone. Are we here? I'm on the TZ Stellar X microphone, courtesy of TZ Stellar X. I just want to give them a shout out. Part of my agreement for this microphone, which I think is awesome. I've switched over from my Elvis mic, which is my favorite mic, the Shure S55, over to this one because I just like the way it the pattern, the way it reaches more of the mids and the lows a little bit better. So shout out to those guys. Video will be coming. I have a musical parody idea. So zooming out here, I mean, you could say we're independent. True. We talked about this last night. You know, we've got a measure move that would take us up to 38,845 with the 35% move for this whole leg here. Thomas Bukowski states, and I don't disagree, that when you take a measured move from these, The full measure move would possibly take us up to 43,000. However, it only reaches that target about 35% of the time, meaning if you apply that multiplier to this, you get 38,845, which is probably a better area to consider. It's also at a key support area, a key support resistance area right here, just at, what is that, 39,329. So we're getting some confluence in for those areas. There's some other ways that we can also look at this for some targets, but the biggest thing that we got to look at for Bitcoin is that, you know, we're in a rising wedge pattern, which is typically bearish. We were there, broke to the downside like we should have, but then we did something very peculiar. We had what is essentially a bear trap pop back into the pattern. So while this was bearish, this became suddenly mega bullish. And so here's the situation that we're looking for. If price can break to the upside and get on top of this trend line, we're looking for a huge move, quick, fast, out of Bitcoin that could possibly take us up to about 48,000, seriously. But that's what has to happen. They have to get a breakout to the upside. Now, a bull pennant has a 57% chance to break to the upside. So the odds are a little bit higher on our side to get that breakout. But even then, you know, we may just come up to about 38, retest, come back down to these areas, and that would be an excellent time to get in on the retest. Make sure we don't fall back into the pattern, because that's a market maker trick. Just stop everybody else on the lows and the highs. So don't put that past them right now. The big players want your Bitcoin. So if you're out here trading spot, which I don't really recommend trading, I recommend accumulating. What would you say if Bitcoin got a 10x over the next, I don't know, couple of years? Not putting it out of the question. Could happen. What also could happen is that we continue getting rejected at this trend line and come back down to at least 32.5, somewhere through there. Or even down to 30,000, which, you know, is not off the table just yet. At some point, I do think that we will come back down to these areas that we flipped, because we went from one zone, one level, if you will, to the next one. And I've kind of got this blocked off somewhere in the area of 38,000 for the top of this area. And that's kind of based on our weekly chart here. Just these resistance area up here, and it can actually be a little bit lower, kind of where we're at, where we're starting to find the resistance that we're into. The good news that I want to point out is that when we were in the bull market and we had our first major pullback, when Bitcoin got up to almost 65,000 and then suddenly it was not there anymore and started coming down, people were getting really scared with a big major drop down to 30,000. We're in the same areas we were in the bull market, in the middle of the bull market. And if you step back and think about that, that's pretty freaking amazing, wouldn't you say? Kind of gives us an indicator that a new all-time high is definitely in order in time. Do I have it on this chart? I do not. There are some targets that I have for a possible new all-time high, just based on Fibonacci. It's fairly conservative. Well, let's go ahead and give that secret away. It's just a fib retracement from swing high to swing low, from our top down to our bottom. And I'm eyeballing 84,774. It will be a good resistance area. That's a 172 retracement. We also got 92.5. And if we get really lucky, strong move could take us up to $103,000. Yes, my friend, 100,000 may be coming this time, because it sure as heck did not come the last time. However, take all that with a grain of salt. Nothing is official until we get there. These are just projections based on tried and true Fibonacci, which plays out on every other time frame. Why wouldn't it play out here? So if you like the thought of tripling your Bitcoin value, I mean, you already doubled it if you got in the 15,000 area, 17,000 area. You guys were buying there, right? You weren't listening to the hype that we're going to 3,000 again or going to 10,000, were you? I mean, signs were there. There was definitely some divergence going on. That's what we want to look at. Let that be this. When we're at a bottom, no matter what chart that we're on, even coming back to retest areas, if we see some divergence there, chances are we're flipping the script. And that's exactly what we did. Now we got this trend line here, which we've been watching closely, broke to the downside, came back above it. I'm not being overly bullish. The market generally is, except for today. Now they're starting to have second thoughts because we're getting a little bit of a pullback, getting some resistance. So now everybody's, a lot of people are starting to entertain the 32,000 area, maybe the 30,000 area again for a retest. It could happen. And we've been saying that for a while. But things just kind of change. I'm just saying, take it one day at a time. And I say that because 3 years ago, this exact same time, we were doing the exact same thing where we had a rising wedge. Where we broke down to the downside. Let's come to the daily so you can appreciate this a little bit more. I want to drive this home. I don't see many people talking about this just as of yet. Straighten that trend line out just a little bit here on this chart. This is where we are today. This is where we were 3 years ago. Let me get my little squigglies off of here. And if you've been watching my channel, you've seen me do this several times, but this is what happened when institutions started showing some interest in Bitcoin. After Michael Saylor decided to announce he was dipping in, and then we got Tesla coming into the picture, but we were hanging out here. We along this trend line, broke below it, very similar to what we did. Same time frame. Here we were on Halloween. We had already just broken to the upside of that. We haven't quite done that yet. We're kind of still just flagging now. We're kind of just like, well, a lot where we were at the top of that channel, just flagging out. But afterward in November, look what happened. The market makers, the institutions, the VCs, well, they started feeling the FOMO. And with ETF news on the brink, don't you think they're feeling FOMO? So I'm not putting it past. I'm not trying to be too bullish. I'm just saying this scenario, very similar to what we did 3 years ago. We're in a 4-year cycle. 1 year from now, could we get a nice little high? Will we double top again, get 2 highs out of this cycle? I don't know. Hope not. I'd rather have one. I think it would go higher with just one. A lot of that you've seen with the double top in that distribution was because of all the bigger players coming in and taking profits. And that's when we had to start relying more on Wall Street charts, ES100 or ES1, S&P 500 and all that. Right now, we're not so correlated to that. Later on, as more of this stuff actually does play out, if it plays out now or later, we will be. And sadly, we'll have to, when the Wall Street people get their paper hands, because they do have paper hands, they sell off at the least little thing. We'll see those drops and everything. So just an interesting scenario. I'm not saying that I'm saying this has a likelihood, a probability of repeating, but it's not confirmed until we break out. And if we don't do that, if we can't do that, well, down we come to retest some ideas, and we may have to look at a different scenario, but we're poised for that big one. And it's all because, well, on the bigger time frames, especially on this weekly over here, we look at the weekly, we got the money flow coming in. First time in a long time. First time that we've been green in money flow since April of 2022. That's worth noting in my personal opinion. Some indicators are a little bit top heavy, like our stochastics, but that's okay. They can stay up there while price goes up. So am I saying that we're definitely going to do that? No, I'm just saying watch it, because the scenarios that we got right now, they will try to fake us out. They will try to take your Bitcoin from you. That's the whole name of the game. So there may be some news coming out over this next week. We do have FMOC, I believe, coming up next week. I think it's coming out on November 2nd. Don't really have all that stuff listed out here because it's always the same thing. That week we always get whipsaw action in the price where market makers just trying to stop everybody out. So do expect a lot of volatility because of all the Fed news that's coming out this week. And also just because there's not very much Bitcoin on the exchanges, meaning that when bigger money comes in to make bigger buys, it can affect the price quite a bit. And I think we're going to see a lot of choppiness over these next few months and a pretty big spread of, stop losses and stop hunts. So I'm just issuing caution. You may want to start thinking about pulling back your leverage a little bit if you are using leverage. because it would be a lot easier for them to stop you out or possibly liquidate you. If you're trading spot, maybe if you're holding on to Bitcoins, trying to tax those stats, man, you're doing the right thing. Is it all about Bitcoin? No, but it should mostly be about Bitcoin because I've got to tell you, in my portfolio, that's been my biggest success. Has been, I mean, it's outperformed the altcoins. And even here on my paper trading, can we pull up our paper trading here? This is not real money, but this is on TradingView. If you want to learn how to trade and you don't actually want to use your money, you know, a TradingView, you can get a free account and you can also do paper trading over there. Started out with $100,000 over here and $61,000 in profit, all from Bitcoin. It's focusing on Bitcoin. I got some altcoins over here. I'm still under 500 on Pepe. Gosh darn it, Pepe. I tried to sell it when it was in profit at $400, but I couldn't get this thing to sell for some reason. It was a little tricky. So we just wrote it. But this goes to say, even if you weren't trading, trying to be active, actually, if I was trying to be active trading, on this account, you know, I would not be, this account would not be $61,000 in profit right now. It was actually just holding through all the noise, knowing that we're going to get above these prices eventually. And amazing that you can get $16,000 profit, $24,000 profit, $22,000 profit on just your Bitcoin alone on these nice moves. So there is money, big money to be made in Bitcoin. Just throwing that out there. But let's digress. We're here to talk about altcoins. First of all, I want to come over to the chart here. Or iChain, please, ask Grimmer. Let's do that. Haven's in the, hey Haven, how's it going? Haven's got the little alien there on her. She is a channel member. I appreciate that. And I want to keep saying this, channel members, I want to give you something of value because you're giving me something of value. You're giving me support. So if you guys can make some suggestions in the comments, I probably won't remember them in the chats, but in the comments for the videos or live streams, I don't know, something that you would like to see to get back for this value other than just a little emoji. I do want to make that worth people's while if they want to take that time, but I do appreciate all this support because doing these channels are not free. There is an expense. It's not a huge expense, and it wouldn't take long for things to offset that, but it is an expense. I've been doing this for about more than a year and a half now. In the middle of the bear market, but nobody's interested in crypto. Haven says she aped into Juno with my unstaked BTC on Crow and woke up this morning. Oh, and Juno actually had, oh, I bet you're happy. I just bought it because it was the newest coin listing. Lucky as a. Strange enough, now Juno is not necessarily, it was probably new on if you got on crypto.com. I didn't know that they had that. I'm in Juno. I've been in Juno for a while, just staking it. They had an exploit, I believe, a while back, and that really affected them. Before that, that coin was up. I think it can make a comeback. I haven't really done a deep dive into its GitHub and development lately, but it's always good to see them bounce up. And sadly to say, even if there's no development, you know, things get a bounce. The Cosmos ecosystem, those coins are kind of trendy right now. And iChain is one of those. Let's go ahead and take a look at iChain. Take a look at it over on, I think KuCoin would probably have the best information. Came up to our measured move. Actually, it's coming back to that measured move for a retest. Will that hold? Could, but no guarantees there. Losing both of those moving averages here on what am I on the 2-hour chart? It says we can come back and retest 387 is possible with this 50 moving average. Although, I mean, they have not crossed, the 9 has not crossed over the 21, so it can still pop right back up. Once that crosses, though, we're probably on line down here to 346. So we're still in a good area where it could still turn around, and there's some signs that it could. Checking here for some bearish divergence, and there is some bearish divergence indicating that, you know, that this should, in normal situations, what's hidden, no, I'm sorry, that's actually bearish divergence. Got my little cheat sheet over here, and you can see it has like a little bow tie. And on this side, We get that little angle there. You can see that up there. I can't point to it with my mouse because it doesn't show up. That usually, in normal circumstances, that means a trend change, meaning we're going to come down to the bottom. We're going to get a reversal here. That's what that normally means. Does it always do that? Well, no, if we're really bullish and things are starting to go parabolic, it's delayed, and you might get 2 or 3 instances of that. So we're kind of keeping our eye on that situation right now because truly, it's showing some signs of parabolic activity. See that little curve up? And as long as we stay within this parabola, we've got a good chance to come up. So even if we do drop down here to the 50 moving average, we can still get another leg up. The parabola usually has about 5 little stages, and I used to have a graphic on that. I need to get that back out. And we're on stage 2 right now. You could probably flip on the Elliott wave. I like to do it just as a second opinion. Sometimes it does things I don't agree with. Sometimes it looks at things a little bit differently. I want to zoom out here. Makes it a little bit easier. Now it's counting its waves from way back here. Kind of odd for me. And you come to a bigger time frame, it's got a different thing saying this is a 3-wave. Smaller time frame saying, oh, we're topped. It's a 5 and coming into ABC correction. Correction may be on the way, true. I just use it there as a second opinion. Not that I necessarily always agree with it. It's a subjective system. So let's zoom out just a little bit here on the daily, get a feel for ORI chain. So if you look at the bigger picture here, interesting things. Now we've got this little trend line. It's a secondary trend line, but it does hold weight that we could get a hiccup somewhere around $13. Does that disappoint you? That we may get up there and get like more of a bigger pullback, you know, maybe a 50% pullback? I would be tickled to death, thrilled to see $13 out of ORI chain again. Got a nice little trend line there, and one of the things I like to do when we get this choppy action, well, we get a solid trend line on one side, we can copy it, raise it up till we see some confluence on the others, and it kind of gives us an idea of some other areas we may be looking at. This may be one. It doesn't line up as greatly here. I'm going to actually move it up here just as a possibility. Put that little guy into a dotted line so I know he's not a major important line to look at. I mean, it is, but I just don't really have it set yet. I need a little bit more information. Some more touches is what we need. And this little guy is throwing it off. And technically, if you wanted to measure this, I mean, we got 2 touches on one side, 3 touches on the other. That's all you need for a valid pattern. Could we be in a megaphone pattern, which has a much higher target? Possible, but we don't have enough touches over there to really go with that. So it makes it a little bit more of a long shot. But I do have a 127 area up here, $14. It's a little confluence for up there. So if this trend line holds, I mean, well, I don't like that time frame. I'm looking at that as October of next year to get there. Doesn't mean that's going to happen. I'm just playing around with some time elements here. So we broke out of a bullish megaphone pattern. We're just coming to the downside. Those are bullish, just a local pattern. Coming back up to this 800 moving average here on the daily. That's very significant. So it's likely that 452, you know, that was probably our new high for right now before we get a pullback. More than likely down to the 666 moving average. I'm using some larger moving averages here because they kind of paint the story. They're very much respected, the 800. And this one, which I call the Lucy line right here, it actually holds weight, and that's coming in at our resistance point, 387. So we got some confluence that we may see some pullbacks there, but don't worry about it. I've got lots of faith in this coin, and I've got mine over there working for me, and the bags have just not quite, well, yeah, I think they have doubled. I think I've already 2x'd on this one. Bags are much bigger. Things that I will tell you is that money flow is going to the upside. That's the biggest thing we can look for. As long as that keeps happening or just levels out, we got the Ichimoku cloud being all nice, thin, and spindly here. We're in for a good setup. Eventually, over this next week or two, we will get that golden cross, or have a very good chance to get that. we will see that a possible golden cross is coming, where the 50 moving average will cross over this 200. That's your buy signal. We may be pulled back by then, and that would be the ideal time to jump into this coin. If we get down to around 325 or 388, wherever that might be. You can also take a Fibonacci from the swing low to swing high, and we're going to target these areas. Now, the 236 area is a strong move for upward, for more strong upward momentum. The 382 area is pretty decent too, but more than likely we're going to come back to, you know, the 0.5, maybe the 618 area. We can get those pullbacks, but if we do come down here to this area, just probably right below the 382 and bounce up from there, we could be looking for that next target up, which would be right around $5.50. So I do see the potential for more upside for ORI chain, especially on the bigger time frames. Smaller time frames, though, you know, she's getting a little rejected right there at the top of that trend line. We do have some touches there, so it is valid, but there's a lot of space in between there, and that's worth taking note of. Overall, we're just wanting to see if we're going to continue this parabolic move, and like I said, next stop should be over $5. So ORI chain, in my personal opinion, just on the run, just doing its normal corrections. Hopefully we can get a much bigger move from this. Do a little fib magic to kind of work out some possibilities there. We use the trend-based Fibonacci retracement, come up to swing low to swing high on this first impulse move, and then come down to the next low. And that gives us some targets. Usually the zeros and the 268s, I don't have the zeros on here, but I don't want to clutter this up too much with lines though, but $5 is coming into the picture here. Give me just a moment. I think got to adjust these. I don't think I had those entered in. This should be 618, not 368. So here we go. The 2618 bring us to 496. The 3618 could give us to 588. The 4618 gives us, when we got some confluence in that area, at 671. That's at 681. So there's just some long-range targets just based on the current pattern, the parabola that it's in, and using a little fib magic there to get those targets that we could be stepping into. ORI chain looks good so far. Me likes it. And Haven says that she jumped into Juno. Let's take a look at Juno. It's been getting a little bit of a resurgence. Let's see, Binance, I thought would have the best prices on this. So you can get this on Osmosis, get on MEXC. Osmosis is great DeFi application over on Cosmos ecosystem. I was fortunate enough to get in on their airdrop, and that in itself was, you know, kind of life-changing. Even though I lost a bunch of it on the Luna UST pair that I was trading in, it is still, I mean, a lot. It was all free money, and there's still a bunch of free money over there. It's just not been taken advantage of. Letting it ride, baby, just for this purpose, for this market. So Juno, let's go with see how far the back they go. MEXC. You gotta admit that pump is in order. Juno went up to 71 cents. Awesome. Got to pull back to 60 cents. So let's celebrate this just a little bit. Throw out a little bit of fireworks. So Heaven, you said you got into this last night. So it looks like you got in this breakout, or after this breakout, before this breakout, somewhere through there. That would have been Yeah, looks like it caught here. So good move, and yes, it had some great results. I want to zoom out so we can take a look here. Now, we got above the 200 moving average on the daily. That's bullish now. Like to see this candle close, another one open above it, and just see a candle open just above there. That's good, but I think we're headed that way. 9 moving average is getting ready to cross over that. That's going to give it something, and then eventually, in time, you know, the 50 will cross, and that will be your true buy signal. Not necessarily buy that moment, but buy the next pullback is how I would phrase that. Ichimoku Cloud looks like it's ready for it to just support this one and going to the upside more. Do expect a little pullback. I don't think it's gonna go straight up. There will be a little bit of a pullback, a little give and take. Money flow starting to come to the upside, so Juno's looking nice and juicy. Let's take a look at this one overall, because it took a hit after that exploit. It failed, but I mean, she was up there, baby. She was up to $68. She's hanging around 37. This is just on MEXC, and just in the past year. This coin's been around longer than that. Let's see if we can get the full chart here. We'll go to, well, Osmosis would actually have the full chart. So October of 21, 2 years ago, we were sitting around close to the same price. We were $1.55 at the lows there, came up. Then we just had a big old spike up. There's a lot of things going on with this project. Now they got up to $45, $44 here on Osmosis. And then, you know, things happen. And then everybody lost interest in it. So will it make a comeback? It's still operational, it's still functional, but let's do just a little bit of a dive in on this one. But overall, Cosmos ecosystem is pumping there. Let's see, do we have Cosmos over here? They got Optimism, Social Fi. I'm looking on MEXC over here on the hot coins. Zones. I thought at one point that they did have that. I just don't see it now. All right. Juno. Let's get all the history. Pretty much saying the same thing there. All right, so maximum supply is 185 million. That's pretty low. I like that. That's pretty cool. Total supply out there right now is, you know, about half of that, a little bit more, a little less than half of that. Or total, it's saying the total supply is 70 million. Self-reported circulating supply is saying is 79 million. That cannot, you know, may or may not be very accurate. Market cap's coming in at 42 million. That's low. Low, especially from where this one's been. Can it get back? I mean, it could. It's just got a little stigma from things that happened in the past there. All-time high, $45. All-time low was 2 months ago when this was 11 cents. So some people have already 5x'd if they got that. And my stake and rewards that I got there have 5x'd. I've just got this little guy staking. I've just been letting him build his bags, even though it fell out. My reasoning was, well, if I sell it, I'll never know. If I just let it in here collect over these years that we're in the bear market, see what happens. Let's take a look at GitHub just to see what's going on. I'm not sure if anybody's actively developing over there or not. So, and to me, that's, they are. That may be why we're getting the pumps. They had an update yesterday, update 5 days ago, one last week, September. That's a great sign. That is excellent that this one may continue. They're still rolling with this. They haven't given up on this project. Unlike, you know, some other projects that are related to Cosmos and also to Rune, ironically. One that didn't make it, that I had a lot of hope in, and I had a lot of wrapped Bitcoin over there. And that's what I was doing. It was doing so hot, I turned everything into Bitcoin, and I was stacking up Bitcoin. And then something crazy just happened, and it was Sif Chain. And I remember this thing was up trading, I think 20 cents. I know it was around 12 cents. I definitely remember it 12 cents. All-time high was 40 cents, and now it is just a fraction of a penny, just flat line. Some kind of exploit or something over on this, and just killed this one. So this one, as far as I know, has nothing going on with it. And when you take a look at their GitHub, I mean, last thing was 2 years ago. This one's a dead project. So that's why I stress it's good to kind of look at these things and see Juno's on the ball. They're doing something. They're fighting for this platform, and it's a cool one. So me likes Juno. Me thinks it's got. I would love to see that thing get up back to even $20, man. Even $20 would be cool. My backs would be pumping because I've just accumulated. You know, if it gets up to $40, it will be a nice bag. So we just got a rounding accumulation here, and then we got to spike up. Don't get too excited just yet, because with these rounded shapes, these rounding bottoms, I mean, we're basically, when we get to the butt crack, and that's what I call it, it's usually somewhere between half to maybe 3/4 of the way done. I would probably lean more to 3/4 of the way, and that's just a guesstimation. Take that with a grain of salt. But depending on how you draw this, it's a very subjective draw in these curved trend lines. So I recommend also taking them basically with a grain of salt, because they can be manipulated. Look, I can move this to wherever I want. Oh, look, it's perfectly aligned. Yeah. I don't know. But he said, but we could see something like this happen as we just accumulate more, and then finally get the big moves that we're looking for. That's just a possibility. We just have to watch it. The biggest thing I would watch is money flow and the moving averages on the higher time frames. And as long as we stay above the 200 moving average, that's a go. So Haven, I guess you're very excited. You aped into Juno with your unstaked BTC. But now, will it, in the short term, it may. Can we do this? We should be able to do this. I can't get nothing. Okay, I was hoping we could get a Juno BTC pair, but that's not happening. Because it's just not traded, but I thought we could check the prices there. I can't safely say that this will always outperform Bitcoin, so you may have had a really good chance to just, you know, do good on your Bitcoin. And you might want to consider maybe taking a little bit of profit now. It may come up here to 82 cents possibility, cent-wise. I don't know what that would be in Bitcoin, but it looks like you've already doubled your Bitcoin. That's pretty impressive, and that's the OG play, which I have to give you. I have to give you respect for doing a Bitcoin play. That's not the forefront of most people's mind, and that's a risk that you took with your precious Bitcoin. So, and you doubled it. Shout out, man. Respect. Now, even if this one goes up to $20, $40, it doesn't necessarily mean that's going to outperform Bitcoin. That's the only thing that I'm driving home. But you're in the position where you could even moonbag that little guy. Might be something to think about. But I do like that they are developing and that they're doing something. Juno. Oh, they got some updates here. Let's check that out. Probably good to know that. Oh, I gotta view this in Telegram? Weird. Juno is listed in the whatever app by Juno. That was listed today. That news may be what's getting it. Okay, it's just listed on crypto.com. That's why. Okay, got it. So, yeah, that's what pumped the price. I don't know if it will sustain at this time. But if you believe in it, I mean, it really looks that they're trying to make some strides. So I think Juno has a good chance to make a comeback, in my personal opinion. Juno's it works as a layer 1 on the Cosmos ecosystem. Cosmos is a layer 0, so it really opens up the whole thing for multi-chain. And they do have apps built over there, and they're even in with Loop Finance. Kind of cool. White Whale, DAO. It's a viable ecosystem, and I don't know. Check it out. It may be a dark horse to look for, especially since they're still developing. So I got this to say about it. Hey, there's myself. How's it going, myself? Haven says, just watching for white smoke, myself. There we go. Haven says, thank you for the TA. I don't know much about the Cosmos ecosystem, but Cosmos is my 6th largest hodl, and it's all staked. Haven, what you need to do is go to Reddit and go to, I think, Cosmos. You can check on Oasis. There's usually links over there. And look for the airdrops, because Cosmos ecosystem loves, and they did. I think they're getting away from it now, but when there's a new project out there coming out, they love to do airdrops on them. Yeah, right here, Reddit Cosmos airdrops. And oh, see, I haven't checked on this one. I might have some of that. I haven't been updating this, but they will give you airdrops. You may have to do a few little things, but it's not like this thing, to unlock certain portions, like you get some of it immediately. You may have to stake it to unlock another 25%. If it's like osmosis, and if you do a pool, it'll unlock another. So there may be some things like that. They do that a lot just to get the ecosystems active, and it's been pretty cool. And been lots of airdrops to come out, and you can get a list of them. QSR, there's a lot of them, and you can get that in TIA. That's one that's kind of catching on right now. So I need to go through and check all this. So they usually take snapshots. This one took one. And if you're pooling things, or even if you just have them stake, you may be sitting on a bunch of airdrops, although sometimes some of these places, they'll call them back if they're not claimed within a certain amount of time. But I would go check just see if you're eligible, because you may have a lot more money there than you realize. And that's what I like about the Cosmos ecosystem. And then you can put it to work for you over on some of the dexes or platforms. And they can cash out when they get to a juicy price. Michael Kovac, hey, welcome to the stream, man. Can we see Viot? We sure can. Let's go to, let me check this one first, the trading view chart. It doesn't have volume. That's what I miss about it. I like to see the exchange volume, but this gives me the whole story about what it's in. So we can see that it goes back there, right? Okay. And now I'm going to come someplace like, let's go with KuCoin. So KuCoin's got more. Look at that. Okay, so good thing we didn't just stick there. That surprises me. Usually TradingView gives you the whole chart. VAIOT, make sure we got the right one for you. We've looked at this before, and it's an interesting shape. It's more like a descending triangle overall. Now, back in the spring when it had this big run up, there were a lot of people calling this a cup and handle, which, I try to educate on cup and handles. They're not bottom patterns, they're continuation patterns. If you see something on the bottom, it's probably something very different. And the rule of thumb with cup and handle, if it comes below 2/3 of the way down, meaning that basically, if you take a Fibonacci from swing low to swing high, and we fall kind of below the 618 area, chances are that even if it were a cup and handle, it's going to be a failed pattern. We don't need it to come more than 2/3 of the way down from a lip. And ideally, to identify a cup and handle pattern, you'd see price rise up into it, form the lip. And I take time to explain that because there's just a lot of flippant information out here, especially on YouTube. People just wanting to redefine some of these patterns. And I'm telling you, you want to get good at this, you really want to make money, you go over to the free site, patternsite.com. Thomas Bukowski, he is the OG GOAT. The statistics that you see, all the back testing, the information, the data that you see on these patterns and pattern tradings all come from this man. He is the source. The other guys, they may have 1 or 2 statistics from them that they repeat for every pattern. Everything's 68%, if you haven't noticed. If you want the true information, go with Thomas Bukowski. And it's free. His books aren't free. His books are very expensive just because they're so rare and such a big demand. So you may be, if they come out, they're about $80 for like his encyclopedia. You give it a little time, then all of a sudden you see that thing trading or being sold for $350. So here's the cool thing that is going on here. Above the 200 daily moving average, 9 moving average, that's this green line, is getting ready to cross it. Very possibly, more than likely, and that's what we're going to see. This little red cloud back here and this little sliver of green right here, that's my Ichimoku cloud, stripped down to just the cloud, which is how I use it. Breaking through the red, a little sliver of green means that we got a high probability of riding this to much higher prices. Ichimoku cloud's giving it the go-ahead. MACD has given it the go-ahead. Indicators say we're going to the upside. Biggest one again on this one, as with any money flow starting to come to the upside. So when we see that money flow here on BMC, Market Cipher, whichever version you have, free or paid, works the same. Except if you're just paying for one and I'm not paying for this one. Graduate comes up and turns through the green. It's on, baby. It's on. So we got to break out of a shallow falling wedge. Those are the best ones to look at. It's kind of like a diamond board, according to Thomas Bukowski. The more shallow they are, the better that they tend to play out. And I've got targets that we have not quite hit. Next target on my list comes just right below this trend line, giving us some confluence for this area. I mean, we broke this main trend line here, broke to the downside, and now we're going to come up and retest it. It's a good chance that we'll get rejected here, and not that that's a bad thing, but I mean, that's just what happens. Come up, get rejected, and then find a pullback area. So I would be looking for a Fibonacci. Whenever it gets that high, we want to take it. Right now, we're just going to guesstimate. Okay, so I'm going to guesstimate at my target here, and it was at 9.8 cents. And I would expect that price would come back to more than likely 70 cents or maybe 64 cents. Falling wedge does have a 64% chance to come back, and 63% chance to come back and retest the breakout point. And that's a 618 Fibonacci, giving us a little confidence there. So we may see that. So it may go up a little bit and then retrace, and that's still cool. That still gives us time to start building this up on another level, or possibly even break back above that trend line. If we see us get above that trend line either now or later, that's mega bullish, and then we're going to start looking for this 18-cent area. So that's what I got for Viot. I don't think I have any of this one. I think I did on KuCoin, but I had to get rid of it when I had to take everything off. So let me clean out this chart here. That's what I got for Viot. I kind of like that. The only hiccup is this. Oh man, what did I do? I erased it. The only hiccup is this trend line here, that it can either break up above, or it can just start, you know, a new trajectory and just slowly work its way under there. New higher highs and higher lows. So Viot looks kind of cool. Ric Flair. Is that not a wrestler? All right, so there's some other AI projects we can take a look at. Ocean is one of them. What was I doing here? I was apparently doing some kind of GAN stuff on this. Okay, well, anyway. Those guys got hit. Up to 54 cents. It's been a while since I looked at this. I want to clear all this stuff out and get a fresh look. See what's going on. Okay, kind of the same deal here with Ocean. Major trend line right here. A lot of people don't remember to look at these, I've noticed on YouTube. They just kind of play out whatever's happening on like the 1 hour or the 15 minute. They're just kind of, I thought that's going to, you know, it's good to zoom out and look at the big picture to see what's really going on. Because this tells me that right up here at 66 cents, it's going to be an issue. It's going to be an issue. Also tells me that this 800 moving average, 41 cents, could be an issue. So it broke down, retested it, came back to the downside. We had a pullback of a fib level, 618. Good chance that we're going to come up here to this, possibly the 71 cent area. That's my little cheat sheet on this particular fib. Let me now take a swing high to swing low. And it tells me 66 cents, the 127 right there. Good target to have in mind, which is kind of giving us some confluence that we could come back up here to this area and then maybe get rejected again and do another pullback, you know, just kind of work our way up. And then we got to see what we're doing there. If we make a bearish pattern, we just play it one day at a time. But right now we got a chance to go up. And if you're in on that to get it, I mean, you're almost doubling your money there, 95% return. So nothing to complain about there at all, even though it could look bullish or bearish up here. It's looking kind of nice where it is on the daily. We're above the 200 moving average, and we're seeing this a lot of coins starting to do this. 9 moving average there. Could pull back to 34 cents. It already wicked back down to the 9. It looks like it's set to go. It can get a pullback. Just expect that. 33 cents. We can get into these juicy areas. Definitely good areas to add to your bag or even jump in if you're not in it. I want to bump up to the weekly just so we can get rid of some of this noise. So we're in kind of a flag pattern, but depending on how you want to look at that, you also need to take a look, you know, at this trend line, because this makes a channel, and really that's where it all holds weight. So we got a fairly solid trend line here. What I like to do is just control, click, and copy that and put it to the bottom and see how well that lines up. That's what's really going on. And again, oh well, price rose into this to make a lip. But again, I say that these are not, cup and handles are not bottom patterns. They're continuation patterns. But I do see that sometimes these have a lot of similarities in the way that they play out, because it's basically a channel, people. This one's just crooked on several different ways. Check this out. They got this trend line. We do the same thing. Look how that just matches that. So we're in two channels at the same time. We're getting ready. We're leaving this channel to the downside and crossing over to this channel to the upside, in my personal opinion. Play in that range, and we can definitely see that 66, 71 cent area come into play. I likes it. Me likes it. It looks good. It wants to do something. Ocean protocol. Let's just go up ahead and if you buy the breakout of this or the retest, it would let you set a really tight stop loss right below there. 10 to 15%, as tight as you can get, as tight as you're comfortable. You kind of have to adjust that yourself. But you could be looking at, you know, a nice little risk to reward ratio, about almost 5 to 1, 4.5 to 1. So we're just going to do a little trade setup, 80% gains there. We're going to take this, and I keep forgetting to do this, but I need to post these over to our free Telegram group. Going over here to Road Dog, go over to the chart room and trade setups. just paste that really quickly here. We're looking at $ Ocean. And I believe that we are I'm on the weekly. So I'm setting up a swing trade idea. And it can take it a while to get to those targets, or, you know, it may not. But if you can double your money, I think it's an idea to look at. Targets in red. And we'll put from live stream. All right, so we got that posted over there. That's what it looks like. Oh, I should have took this little guy off. I think it's pretty clear. A lot of times I like to get more details, but if we're on the live, I'm posting from the live. I don't want to sit here and just put all that stuff in there. Hey, Mrs. Ric Flair, it was for my, I guess you mean pump? Higher low in the 4 hour, why not us? Are we still talking about Juno? Oh, Bitcoin. Where is my Bitcoin chart? You said higher low on the... Yeah, we got higher lows there. So the higher lows are good, and even though we have some lower highs, as long as we keep having those higher lows, we're still good. But here's what I'm saying. We're getting dangerously close on this 4 hour to this Ichimoku cloud. We've seen this a lot, where it can bounce off of it and still go up. That's possibly could happen, but usually when it starts touching it and getting into it, it usually sucks us in. And that's a concern for me, because here on the 4 hour, if you bring up VMC, the market cipher, the big thing I'm looking at, money flow starting to come down. Indicate the stochastics are pointing down too, and they could get pinned here while we continue moving down. VWAP is up, but it may be rolling over. I'm just keeping an eye on that for the possibility that we could come back down. And that would mean us getting rejected up here. And the fact of us getting rejected up here on the top of this trend line on this pattern, rising wedge, would definitely put us down to the bottom of this pattern to test it. And then we have to see if that holds. And that's at 33, 32.5, just depending on which candle it goes that lines up with this bottom trend line. That also comes in with a retest of the 800 moving average. 800 moving average, especially here on the daily, that's a big deal. And that's what this guy is right here. I've added a few larger moving averages that I can use for points. But I will say this is one good sign. We got the 100 and 200 crossing the 666 moving average. All of them have crossed that. That's actually bullish. That's good on our side. So on the daily, we're a little bit further from this cloud, and that's good. And we're still above the 9 moving average. So as long as we can hold that, we're still good. I'm liking that. But we start losing the 9 moving average on any time frame, we're starting to lose a trend on that time frame, and we're going to get a little bit of a correction or pullback. And the pullback to the 21, which will be the next one in line, just here on the daily, comes in at 3,000. But the one I'd be looking for, that I'm really interested in, is this 800. That's significant. That's kind of like the 200 moving average, just on a bigger scale, if that makes sense. And if you go to a big enough time frame, probably, I think, is it the weekly? One of the 200 moving averages will correspond with that. And I think it's here on the... No, that's not it on the 5-day. So here on the 5-day, you can see that Bitcoin price has reached the 200 moving average, and that's where we're getting caught up at. So the 5-day chart may be a good one to kind of keep an eye on. Still, it doesn't look bad. but we can get rejected here and get a pullback. Ichimoku Cloud looks awesome. Money flow's coming to the inside. I'm still maintaining that, you know, I got to see something like this, and man, it would be on. But we could also do something like that. So it's really a time just to kind of watch the markets. Have we went to our indices? We need to talk about this. Bitcoin dominance over here on the daily, coming a little bit to the downside. And total 3, our altcoins still going up. I still see about 40 more billion dollars coming in over the next few weeks. And so we're getting we're getting some humps out of altcoins, and I like that. The money's coming out of the dollar and going into altcoins. I'm really interested in the Bitcoin dominance, because when it starts falling, the altcoins will benefit. And I would love to see us come back to about this 52. You know, just lose a 1% would do wonders for altcoins, pushing them up. Maybe what we're seeing right now. But remember, we are headed into a weekend. I think today is Wednesday. Happy Halloween, everyone. Happy Samhain, if that's what you celebrate. So remember, there's news coming out this week. Market makers are going to be kind of crazy with the Bitcoin price, and we're going to see that. Altcoins may continue to, you know, benefit from that. So another AI coin that we can look at is Tau BitTensor. I get mine over on MEXC. If you don't have an account at MEXC, would like to start one to have one as a backup, because you do need backups. I do have a link in the description, which eventually could help out the channel. It does give you, they're pretty good about discounts and everything, but it does give you also, when they start having discount or start having their fees again, it does give you the maximum discounted fee, which I think is like 40% off their fees. So BitTensor here I'm on the 3-day. Let's go to the daily. Get my trend lines lined up. Are we breaking back in? It appears we are breaking back into this channel, which is hella bullish for BitTau. We were looking for it to get rejected, a high possibility, and it still could. Don't rule it out, but the fact that it poked a hole in there is a good sign. So trying to get BitTensor back at $60 may not happen. Next couple of days, it will get the buy signal here, the golden cross, 50 crossing the 200 moving average. Money flow's coming to the upside. This guy looks like she's getting ready to do something big. Breaks back into here. I'm looking at $124. That's a measured move from, must be this. So yeah, that's where I took that from. I've been looking at the top of the channel, and I mean, we could get up to 135. And I believe if we were to break out of that channel, just depending on where it is. I mean, this is getting into the hopium and projecting a little bit in the future, but $169. Even from now, you can moonbag it if we get there. The greatest time to get this was when it was $50 to $55, but still not a bad place. It's $79.80. It has got possibility for another 50% increase right there on BitTensor. So interesting that we are breaking back into the pattern. Just give it a few more candle closes there. Let's go to 4 hours, see what it looks like. 4 hours above the 9 moving average. It's ready to rock. This appears like this is going to stick, so I'm going to throw this out there. That's actually really bullish when we break it back into a pattern, and definitely expect more out of that. So BitTensor looks like it's getting ready to do a nice little run. Hey, one hit Aquita, what's up? Today is Tuesday. Thank you for straightening that out to me, because I get my days mixed up easy. Cool. So we're not headed into the weekend just yet. Good. It's on Thursday or Friday they start playing some weekend games with us. Although I think the games will really start tomorrow. It should be interesting. Well, I'm trying to find my Telegram. Oh, here it is. I'm going to just post this over there real quick. Gotta get in the habit of doing that. TAO. Bitensor. So Maxi. And daily. Price has broken back into the bearish channel. Which now makes it bullish and could see $125 plus. Where's my plus sign? So trade setups over there. Crispy Chicken's got a bunch of cool setups over there. I think he's got Bitcoin Cash. He's got Peppy 4 hour. Bitcoin, INJ. I love INJ. INJ is in a rising wedge. We should probably look at that one. That is on the Cosmos ecosystem too. See how that one's doing now. INJ is one that got by me early on. I was able to catch it between $3.50 on through, I think, $5. Building my bag through there, but I meant to get it when it was in those juicy, sub $2 areas. I forgot. So I ended up getting it mostly through here, and I'm very pleased. That bag is done very well. Looks a lot bigger than it was before. Because I'm up 200. Yeah, that looks more like it. So guys, how's your bags looking? I mean, today you're getting a little bit of a hit, but have you noticed an increase? I've got to say that my HODL bags that I started building about 1 year ago today, and they've gone through the ups and downs, which HODL bags will, but I'm averaging about 40% up overall right now where we are. And I would think some of you guys should be experiencing, you should be seeing your bags grow, just depending on when you got in. But if you're in follow our channel and trying to buy at the bottoms and juicy bottoms on these coins, and even if you just nibbled and DCA'd, you should getting a little taste of, oh, this could work out, because maybe we're just now getting started. It's just starting. We got 2 years of this. We've got almost 2 more years of this. Number go up. That's why I tell you are in it at the right time. And we're just now finishing toward the last phase of this before we start seeing some impressive moves. Should we take a look at Total 3? Put it on the weekly and just kind of compare what it did last time? That might be a good little experiment just to kind of go over. Since Bitcoin's doing the same thing that it did. Here's what we got to see out of this. Now, this is our main trend line for Total 3, right? From this area right here. That's the one that's been supporting us. We lost it, and we're trying to retest that bearishly. We've already had a retest once. It poked a hole in it, but ended up losing it. This would be awesome for a bull trap or a bear trap. But will it be? Let's hope. It's going to be a fight to get above that 200 moving average, and then we got the 100 kamikaze diving on it. So if we do, it's still going to be a struggle just to get up to this, this $400 billion area, which I think we're going to, but I think we'll get quickly swatted back down. So over these next, 4 weeks or so, it's a good idea to peel off some profit, even if it's just 10%, as we start pumping up. You need to pay yourself a little bit, or else you're going to ride the roller coaster, come back down, and then it's like, oh man, I wish I had some dry powder to buy more. So I'm just telling you, don't sell all your bag, because you know how they like to pump after you sell them, right? No matter how good you are. No matter how good you are, a lot of times they like to pump after you sell them and drop after you buy them. The TA can help you avoid that, but then still sometimes, whatever reason, something gets a hold of us, might be our emotions, and that changes. So back over here in November 2020. Let's see what happened 3 years ago at this time. We already saw Bitcoin, what it did. This is August, September. We just kind of went sideways. October. Let's blow it up a little bit. Make it look a little relevant. See all these wicks? We're basically in a ranging one sideways from 86 billion all the way up to 110 billion. September, October, October, October. We hit November, and then with the mid-November, right before Thanksgiving and all that, boom. That's when the real money started coming in. That's when the volume started increasing all the way through November, December, January, February. That's when altcoins started taking off. Just started. All the way for that whole year. More than a year and a half. Just steadily moving up. Had a share of pullbacks. Don't get it twisted. There were some pullbacks that scared a lot of people. This month right here in February was a big one. Could we be going through that now? It's highly likely. I find it very interesting that we're mimicking those price structures so well. But what I've got to see is, what I'd like to see is this be a bear trap and come back up here in this area. Flip this, and then we can see some mega movement. So we're not going to see those big juicy things unless that happens, in my personal opinion, and I think it can. Remember, this pattern here is a bullish one, and it just found a partial decline, breaking to the upside, and eventually we'll test this 800 moving average here on the daily, and that's 150 billion more coins coming into the market to get there. So altcoins starting to look a little juicy. We're not quite there yet, but almost. We're really trying to get there. So pay yourself a little bit, not too much. Don't do like I did with Teller and get all out at $23 and watch it go up to 120 something. Well, that sucks. I had my rules in place, and I still somehow was not paying attention and ended up selling my whole bag. And I meant to keep at least half of it, or at least 25%, if nothing else. Hey, Moo Man's here. It says Happy Halloween. When he has a quick wit, it says he does this all the time. Yeah, days are hard for me to track sometimes. All right. Another one. New Mare, we haven't looked at that one. Now, it had a little run recently, and it was all the talk. Everybody, oh my God, did you get New Mare? Oh my gosh, because it ran up to like $25 from 11. That was a good run. It seems to like to do these little spikes quite a bit, so that's worth taking notice here on the daily chart. We did it from $9 to $40 in one day. It likes to do that, and we're back at these juicy prices. Right now it's $13. I don't believe I'm in this at all. Now, it does have a little hiccup it's got to get past. You see this trend line right here? We're below that. So, but it is above the 200 moving average, so it's got its start. Trying to do something, get into this big Ichimoku cloud. It'll struggle a little bit, but she's trying to head up here to $17. May take it a little while to get there. But eventually, maybe getting another big old spike up to Lord knows where. If I had to guesstimate, I would draw a trend line right there. And just say that our next one could probably come about $23. So, I don't know. It's an idea. You can make an argument that, on a pullback down to these juicy areas about, just about $13. Where would that take us? just getting up here is 30% return, getting up to the 800 moving average, 60% return. If it spikes up there, that's 80%. And buying at 13 and selling at 23, lots of money, moolah, possibility. Don't ever know when those are going to happen, but just throwing that out there. Is an AI coin that's kind of doing a little something. But it does have some areas that it's got to work through, and $21 being one of them. Let's go ahead and mark that sideways there. That's going to be a little bit of a headache there, so face some resistance. Here's one I don't think I've ever looked at, called Bato. Let's look at Bato, see what that is. It's AI, and it seems to be making some movements right now. I've heard it before, but I've never really taken a close look at it. It's at 32 cents right now. There are 100 million Bato maximum supply, total supply, 37.6 million in circulating supply, so almost 40% of it out there. Mercy, mercy me. I was getting sleepy. All-time high on this little guy was 694 2 years ago, so that's a pretty big and impressive move. If we can get back to that all-time high, that's pretty snazzy. Even getting back to half that's, about a 10 or 11x. All-time low was a year ago. It reached 2 cents. Imagine buying this in October last year. You've already made a 10, almost a 15x from that. Nice. I want to check the GitHub real quick. Oh, well, I'm not liking that. They had a sub-paragraph for indexing Bato and Bato ETH stakes on October 8, 2021. And smart contracts were February 2022. And they haven't really done much here. So not seeing the development I would like. So that's a bit of a flag for me. So that's why I like to check that. We're in the Bart Simpson butt pattern and accumulation, and this is getting a current rise up from 15 cents up to 30. So it's 2x from the bottom, but are you functional? So when I don't see development, it makes me think that it's a dead project. Bato is a decentralized autonomous artist. Bato creates works of art based on collective feedback from the community, participation with... Okay, so yeah, we got on the AI art craze, NFTs and stuff like that. And that was hot. That's kind of some cool stuff here. Reminds me a little bit of Art Punks over on... It does have some cool art. But it's governed by Bato DAO, so that's what the coin is. It's a DAO. Each week, Bato presents 350 promising pieces for consideration by the DAO. So is your DAO active? I mean, are you guys actively voting and stuff? Because it doesn't seem like anything's going on. Maybe worth, looking a little harder on this one. I just shy away from ones I can't see active development on. Because during a bear market, that's when your team should be working the hardest to make all the improvements. And it's like, we're done, that's it. So, I mean, it's like, this one's just got to live or die on its own. So, even though that one's, okay, looking at that makes me a little bit skittish about it. Just throwing it out there. Bato, and where am I at here? On 3-day chart. Is this the trading view? Where is Bato found at? It's on Uniswap, Mexi. Mexi has it. CoinX, OpenOcean has it. Mostly on DeFi at the moment. And, Mexi, if they decide to unlist it, because they do that, they will unlist coins from time to time. Could affect it. It could see $1 if we're sticking with this pattern, but I got to give it to you. It's above the 200 moving average, above the 9. So there's money coming into it. Probably a speculation play. Oh, it's about nap time. And we do have the support area right over here. I'm not being all that amazed, but it is showing some signs of improvement there. But as far as a long-term hold or anything, I don't see anything that would make me want to swing that way for Bato. So it's worth checking out there. PHA, I think it's Fela over on Binance. Very interesting. Let's check the weekly out. Get rid of some of this noise. See what's really going on here. Prices come down a lot. Let's get rid of this fib after I mark this little juicy area at 58 cents. And this little area here, I didn't mark these fibs, did I? Let's go ahead and do that. So the deal is, I got to see this little guy get above 19 cents, or, it's a lot of sideways. And she's breaking above with the weekly on the 2 hour. I'm sorry. No, that's my yellow. That's my trend line. Let's make you a different color so I won't get confused and say the wrong thing. I don't see the 200 on the weekly. It's above the 9, getting ready to test the 50 at, what is that, 12 cents. Interesting. The daily is trying to get above the 200. It hasn't quite pulled it off yet. There's some signs here that that may actually happen, though. And definitely if we see the 9 cross it. So Fela is starting to look interesting that we're bottoming out here. Remember, when we zoom back out, we got a double bottom scenario going here. And an interesting one, because this is technically the peak. We can look at this 2 different ways. Double bottom, let's take 2 different measured moves. From this area, which gives us right up here about 36 cents. And if we take the full measure move and put that as the neckline, a possibility of coming up to 91 cents here. Long-term play on that one. It'll take it a while to get that. A lot of things has got to happen. It's got to eventually move up the price to that level, maybe drop back down or come up and flag out, and then we can see that. That's going to be a while away, so that's a long-term target. But if you're holding this one for long-term, great place to take profits. Great place to shoot at. So is 47 cents in my personal opinion. So it looks like it's trying to do something. It's just had a little run of, well, a bear market. We'll come down on the 4 hour just to check it out, and it's looking kind of nice on the moving averages on the Ichimoku cloud. It has come back and retested the 200 moving average and possibly that 100. 100's getting ready to cross over that. It's had a pullback basically. So we had this kind of trend line here, and we just did a retest on it. It's got a good chance of continuing on up from here. So it gave everybody a good chance to buy it from 11 cents down to 10 and a half, all the way down to 10 cents there. So Fela, where can you go, baby? What are you planning on doing? Well, this moving average kind of spells out a very good area. That's, whoops. That's Lucy's line right there. She's just kind of sitting there, and she may hold the price down a little bit, but once we clear this 200 moving average, we still haven't cleared it yet, and that's at 10.7 cents. We're getting a breakout. I'm not yet seeing the volume that I need to make it really a juicy one. But again, double bottom scenario, definitely can see these areas at 15 cents, 19 cents, 25 cents. I'd be looking for 25. So interesting one on that one. 0x has been getting a lot of attention lately. We'll take a look at this one. Let's go with Binance there. So again, we got Lucy's moving average sitting right up here. And that's kind of the area we're getting rejected off of. I've got a trade set up buying the breakout, which we did. So we broke out of here. If you guys took this trade set up, then you're currently in profit. I think the actual buy I've got there was at a FOMO area. It went up 23%, currently just sitting above 10%. So the trade's got a long way to go to come up here to 46 cents, but I saw that and it's just a measured move from the channel that we're breaking out of right there. Let me get rid of some of these noisy lines I've got. They don't mean anything. Slide this little guy over because that's still in play there. But we did get our breakout. And I think she just getting started on some higher action. Possible inverted head and shoulder. It's slanted one. I basically just go by the channels. It gives you the same things. Possible measure move right up here to 63 cents. So 0x is looking kind of juicy for trying to get some up movements. Going to have a little hiccup here around 38 cents though. So it's not going to be an easy move, but we're turning things around, baby. Turning things around. Definitely some bullish divergence right here that's telling us that it's time for a reversal. Time for a reversal on 0x. Not a member says, happy Halloween, man. Happy Halloween. Guys, the time is now 3 o'clock. I thank you so much for being with me. I will have another stream coming up tonight where we will go over some more altcoins and try to go over them quickly, a little bit more quickly than what I've done here. Taking a look at the market and guys, just trade carefully. Pay yourself when you can. Don't have to sell it all. Don't do that. Don't do that. But do peel off a little bit. A little bit. You've been in this market. You've been suffering through this. You need a little compensation. So if the time's right, you see something, don't be afraid to do that. It may come in very handy over, a few weeks from now.
For those of you out there that have been hitting that like button, I just want to say thank you. Thank you very much.
So guys, I appreciate you being here and I'll see you tonight. God bless you.